All right, background on the beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from Brauerei Heller-Trum, aka Schlenkerla, and they are out of Bamberg, Germany, and this is their Weichsel Rotbier. So this is a Cherrywood Smoked Rotbier that comes in at 4.6% alcohol by volume, 28 IBUs, and at the time of review, I don't know exactly how old this can is because it does not have a can-down date. However, I went to the brewery's Instagram, and it looks like this one was released back in the summer of 2023. It was like late June into early July. So I'm going to say that this beer is just over 7 months old. So recently I reviewed their Aecht Doppelbock, and I really enjoyed it, although it was still a bit too intense with the smoke character. While I appreciated the more savory, like meat smoke kind of character as opposed to like straight campfire smoke, it was still a bit too intense for me. I enjoyed it, didn't love it, but I did enjoy it. And in that review, I did mention that I had this one in the fridge, and a lot of you said that I would enjoy this one more because it was a little bit lighter on the smoke, probably more in my wheelhouse. So here we are reviewing it. Now, when it comes to Schlenkerla's beers, they are all smoked, and the vast majority of their regular offerings are smoked with beechwood. The aforementioned Doppelbock uses oak, and this uses Cherrywood, and this is, as far as I know, a brand new release from them. Back last year was the first time they ever released this one, at least packaged and whatnot, and I got a can of it. Now, it's weird, if you're not in the US, you'd be like, a can of it. Yeah, so Be United International actually imports this beer, and then they can it on premise in Oxford, Connecticut. So this is the tank container canning project. So they bring over a big tank container that has the beer in it, and then they can it here in the US. And I've heard some people say there are some slight differences between the can version and the bottled version. One thing that I think would be cool to do at some point down the line is if I could get my hands on a canned version and a bottled version of the same beer, kind of do a side-by-side to see if there are any differences. But anyway, they have a spiel here on the back of the can that I will hopefully remember to read at the end, but this is already going too far. It's probably like 2.5, 3 minute intro. Oh, this one's spewing a little bit. Okay, not that much, just a little bit. Anyway, we're going to pour it into the glass here, and we're going to give it a review. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, a Rotbier, it actually translates into a red beer in English, and in this case, a red lager. So do something like that and go from there. So I'm not going to take a cheat. Usually I wipe it down and take a cheat off the can. Not this time. I want to go into this one and see what we got going on. So, that has like this, that actually looks like a very like deep copper. Has reddish but like brownish kind of mix to it, but yeah, like a deep copper color. There's a decent clarity. I can see my hand through the other side, but there is some fine particulates. I can definitely tell holding up the light, fine particulates, so it has a little bit of like a haze to it. About a finger of a straight up khaki colored head, maybe more of a light tan than maybe khaki, maybe not quite to that level. Almost like a like a cream color. It has some soap sudsy kind of look to it, but it also looks kind of fluffy to some degree. But as far as like a Cherrywood Smoked Rotbier goes, looks nice. Anyway, decent carbonation too. Let's get a nose. So actually, kind of intense with the smokiness. You guys lying to me? Oh, but you know what? That smokiness is so different. So it's given me like the OG beechwood kind of vibe with like campfire. But there's this subtle, maybe not so subtle, like kind of like fruitiness and a little bit of like a savoriness too, but like it's fruity, kind of sweet smelling, even though can't technically smell sweetness and bitterness. It's like, it just smells like it's going to be sweeter. Underneath that, there's a decent amount of malt character. Like it almost reminds me in the nose of like an Irish Red. Shout out to Sam Smalley over at Short and Stout Beer Reviews. I did watch his live review of this recently, and he was talking about how like it gave him a little bit like Irish Red vibes. Like I'm getting like caramel and toffee and like sweeter like bready components in the nose. There's a nice like earthiness here too. So every time I go back, that cherrywood is there, but again, it's definitely cherry or some kind of fruit character. And it just smells like it's going to be sweeter. So it's a different smoke character than I'm accustomed to with their beers and smoked beers in general, which is really cool. Maybe a touch of like a grassiness as well. Yeah, it smells pretty good. And as I continue to take whiffs of it, like the smoke character is the predominant note, but it's kind of like mellowing a bit and letting the rest of the beer come to the forefront as I go back each time. yeah, anyway, let's get into it. Prost, everyone. Yeah, you guys are right. Wow, to me, the taste is vastly different than the nose as far as the smoke character goes. Like the nose had me a little worried because the smokiness was so rich. It is very reminiscent of that Doppelbock and their Rauchbier. Very intense smokiness in the nose. Where those beers, it seems the smoke carried over more to the taste. Not as much here. Definitely noticeable. But I wouldn't say it's like the predominant or the most dominating character on the palate. Let's go body mouthfeel. It's a little bit lighter, I'd say. Lower side of medium body, so 4.6% is fine. It actually is kind of what I want. I want a little bit lighter beer to make it easier to drink. The mouthfeel, crisp. It has a moderate carbonation. This beer is quite clean on the palate. And yeah, I could crush a bunch of these, honestly, as far as the style go. Like, I could drink a couple cans of this. I'll tell you, after the first couple sips, that smoke character is more accentuating the rest of the beer as opposed to it being the other way around, where like the beer will accentuate the smoke character in most of their beers that I've had. Behind me on the pretentious wall of bottles and cans, you got the Helles back there. And that Helles was kind of in the wheelhouse of this, where I think the smokiness was dialed back, and it was like I got more of the base beer, and it was very drinkable. That's where this lands, but it's a more I'd say a more complex lager. So right front, a lot of good malt character, and it does remind me of like an Irish red or even an American red, where there's a lot of caramel and toffee, bready notes. Little, it's sweeter as far as the malt is concerned. Dives underneath the palate. Right after that, I get the smoke. Like the smoke kind of intertwines at the front with the malt, but I notice the malt more. Then it dives underneath the palate, and the smoke kind of carries through. And what that smoke does as it goes through the palate is it introduces that cherry wood, and I'm getting cherry. I'm getting other nondescript fruitiness, like maybe like a little bit of a berry note. There's an underlying like citrus. And then the back of the palate, the smoke kind of starts to dissipate, and I get this nice earthy, grassy kind of hop finish with a little bit of like a floral sensation. This is mild to moderately bitter with a semi-dry kind of finish. Again, the hop character is not that big. Probably in a beer like this, you really don't want much hop character, so it's appropriate. Listen, the easiest way to say this, very simplistic. It's a super drinkable smoked beer. And I don't know if I've ever said that in my life. I don't know if I'll ever say that again in my life, but it's very drinkable as far as the smoked beer goes. I know that sounds stupid because everyone's like, oh, it's beer. It should be drinkable, right? Like, it's a stupid thing to say. That Doppelbock, why I like that, it's not very drinkable to my palate. Same thing with their Rauchbier. I know a lot of people who love that beer, and they'll be like, yeah, super drinkable. For me, this is what I would deem drinkable to my palate as far as smoked beers go. Again, that campfire kind of smokiness is very light in this one, and it's more of that like sweeter kind of smokiness, like again, fruity kind of smokiness. It's kind of strange to say that, but with Cherrywood, it makes sense. There is, I would say this maybe leans a little bit sweeter than a lot of these beers. Again, a little bit of hop character on the back and a little bit of bitterness. I would maybe like to see this maybe a little bit more moderately bitter, or maybe a little bit more full-on dry to kind of balance it out. But again, I could drink a couple cans of this and not be upset about it at all. Yeah, you guys were all right. Everyone who said that this would be more my wheelhouse, you are definitely correct. If you put their Rauchbier at like 100% smokiness, I'd say that Doppelbock was more in like the 75 to 80% range, and this is like 50%. So if you're somebody like me who has had trouble getting into smoked beers, and maybe you don't like the style and you want to try to get into it, grab this. Grab the Helles, I think, are the two for me that I've realized more in the wheelhouse of what I want out of a smoked beer. They are much more mild and subdued, and more in, it's my jam, so to speak, for lack of a better word. 4.6%, I mean, you can't tell. This is just extremely well executed, and this might be the favorite of the bunch I've had so far. And I did pick up their Schwarzbier, their R, I don't know how to say it. It's E-R-L-E-R. I don't know, I like to roll my R's today, right, with the Rotbier. But I can't wait to get in that one. I'll probably review that one in the next month or so. Schwarzbier, one of my favorite German styles. I love darker lagers. So hopefully that one has a little bit more of a mild kind of smoke character, but I guess we'll see. So their Weichsel Rotbier from Schlenkerla. I'm going to go high 4.25. I'm going to go 4.35. This is fucking delicious for a smoked beer. I never thought I'd say 4.35 for any smoked beer ever in my entire life, period. And here we are. So yeah, this is delicious for what this beer is supposed to be. And if you actually like smoked beers more than I do, this is probably up there, but maybe not, because you might want more of a smoke character, and maybe that's where it loses some people. But didn't lose me, not at all. Anyway, let's read the back and then we'll go into price and availability. It says Schlenkerla, the historic smoked beer brewery. For our Schlenkerla Weichsel red lager, we dry the malt over fire made of high quality cherrywood instead of beech. Cherrywood has a fruity, sweet aroma, 100%, and provides a copper red color. Did not read the back of this, but yeah, that's definitely copper, reddish, brownish, sure. The finest aroma hops add berry notes. I did say berry more in the taste, not in the nose, so I think that is correct. To this full-bodied, pleasantly palatable beer, 4.6% ABV. Not full-bodied. Full-bodied for 4.6, maybe? It's like lower-sided medium, maybe approaching medium, but I always have an issue with the bodies when they're like full-bodied. Again, maybe they're saying full-bodied for a sub 5% beer, which I wouldn't argue, because a low, medium body into medium body for 4.6, that's probably full-bodied for, if the beer was 8% and, thick and chewy. Like, it's comparatively speaking, I get it, but not comparing it to like, 10% Imperial Stout. Anyway, price point availability. Because I got in a can, I think these cans were $17.99 a 4-pack, and this is, I'm pretty sure, a 16, right? 16 fluid ounce can. These are just your standard. Did they not say it anywhere? Yeah, I think these are 16 fluid ounce cans. So I think the bottles are 500 mil. This is what, 473. It's $4.50 a can. I think I bought a single, it was like $4.99. If I bought a bottle of it, it'd probably be in the like $5.50, $6 realm. That's typically what these go around, for in my area. They're usually, if you buy the 4-packs of like the 500 milliliter bottles, you're talking, around $20 a 4-pack. This was $18 4-pack. Same thing. And availability, I have no idea, especially when it comes to the can here in the US. I know a lot of people can get the bottle of this outside the US and in the US, but the can, I don't know if you're going to find it too much, maybe just in the Northeast. Listen, I'll wrap this up by saying this. If you're not a smoked beer lover and you want to get into the style and you want to go with the kings of the smoked beer, the OGs, the historic brewery that they are, and you want to end up trying these out and enjoying them at some point in your life, give this one a go, give the Hellas a go, see what you think, and then go from there. That would be my recommendation, but at the end of the day, we all have different palates, so maybe that won't be your path. But I would say this is one of the few, along with the Hellas, that I probably would rebuy just to drink myself and not review, like something that I'd actually do enjoy. This is really nice, and I'm surprised I enjoy it as much as I do, even though all of you were like, yeah, you probably enjoy that one now. So I'll be curious to see what the Schwarzbier has to offer. That's probably one of my favorite German styles. Doppelbock is probably my favorite. I'd say Doppelbock is my favorite German style, and then Schwarzbier is top 3. So I'm hoping that's delicious, but I guess we'll see. So anyway, if you've had this one before, whether it's in the can or the bottle, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. And a huge thanks to everybody who told me to grab this one and also that I would enjoy this one. You weren't lying, and I am enjoying this one. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of it off camera. So appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers. Sorry. Prost.